Hello, hello. We got a new chapter of One Piece. The streets have been waiting for this one, and by the streets, I mean me. This is chapter 1171, Ragnir. We got a very cute reader request. Zoro wearing cat ears. I'm sure there is a certain part of the population of One Piece fans that are going to be driven a little insane by this. Me. And by that I mean me. The Fujoshi is inside the house. Adorable. Uh, so, what is going to happen in this chapter? We could actually exit the flashback and return to present day. There's not that much more to cover. We had the heartbreaking moment where Loki begrudgingly kills his father, who, in a final moment of lucidity, tells Loki to do it. We saw in silhouette Loki's new dragon fruit powers that seem to turn him into a wolf of some sort, which I think is another Norse myth, right? The legendary wolf. So there's like a few more kind of boxes to check before we get to present day, but I don't think many of them will take all that long to see. Probably the biggest one is how Loki got chained up, which might involve Shanks. Let's get into it. Had a terrible vision, plain as day, of Harold venturing forth from this castle and laying waste to the world until it was nothing but ruins. It's hard to imagine, yet with the way his wounds healed themselves, there was actually a means to stop him. Does the treasure of Elbaf really have such power, Geralt? Not that I've heard. So this really is the Supreme King Haki that Loki was able to utilize there. Maybe unaware that he had it, who knows? It seems that this is before Scopper learned about the trick to defeating these foes that regenerate. Even in his current battle on current day Elbaf, where he slices up Saint Somers, it's like it wasn't quite enough for him to actually, inflict a permanent wound, but it did seem like he regenerated slower with whatever Haki Gaban was able to infuse. But this is also kind of interesting because it's like suggesting that the idea of what this devil fruit is and can't do is pretty unknown to the people of Elbaf. Like, Jarol doesn't really know what caused the ability to hurt Harold. He doesn't know if it's the devil fruit. He doesn't really know what the devil fruit was. I guess it's been hidden for generations. It's kind of curious to me because if it just turns you into a wolf, is that such great shakes? We already had a legendary wolf. His name was Yamato, and he's busy flopping around on Wano. It doesn't seem like something that's in that like super legendary devil fruit tier. But I don't know. Shanks having a breakdown here, thinking about his past, thinking about how horrible and cruel the people in Marijois were. Forget what happened in the lower world. It's your bad habit again. Don't you dare regret your birth. So yeah, Shanks blaming himself here. Harold only was able to get the abyssal rank because Shanks escaped. Because Shanks freed up this spot. But this... Yeah, I don't think he can really blame himself for that. He was already scheming on an extremely selfless, self-sacrificing level to do this entire undercover mission in the first place. And moreover, like Gaban says, you still have a role to play. And we know now what that was. Betting his arm on the new age of Luffy. This is what he gets for loving his country. It's a cruel joke. Oh, I like this. He covers up Harold with his coat. Loki weeping. An exceedingly rare ancient giant warrior, given an even greater power and immortal body. That was nothing short of a monster, and thou sayest it was killed. By whom? What is in Elbaf? Okay, so there's some good things to note here. Emu does not have like unlimited power. Emu, when conflict, like using the mind control thing on Harold, has exhausted itself, themself, herself, his self, whatever. Also, it's kind of like I think we assumed, at least I assumed, that when Emu was possessing someone like this, they were able to like receive transmissions, you know, what that person was seeing and thinking and stuff. But here, really has no idea exactly what happened to take out Harold. In their mind, Harold was, you know, strong enough to just start rampaging across the entire world, enslaving the rest of the giants, all of this stuff. Very reasonable assumption. Moreover, it makes me think that the fact that Harold was defeated, it can't just be like the Haki of the Supreme King, right? Because Emu is definitely aware of that potential weakness, saw how it went down with Rocks, or is aware of how it went down with Rocks at least. So it feels like there is some X factor with the Devil Fruit that we're not seeing that allowed, or maybe not the Devil Fruit, but the hammer, perhaps as well, because Regnir is the title of the chapter, and that's the name of the hammer, if I'm not wrong. Harold chose to debase himself before humankind to connect his country and other lands and peoples. This made him a heretic. His or a tribe of warriors who every drop of blood calls out for battle. Carelessly incorporating them into the government will lead to internal collapse. An ancient giant king of Elbaf who agrees to the government is a gift to Mu, the likes of which shall never be seen again. He was a king that Elbaf should never have had, and see what came of it. History does not lie, our kinds are incompatible. Never forget that Elbaf is D. What? Whoa! Hold the phone. Okay. Elbaf is just straight up. What does that mean? D, I think, must be like a very broad category here, because there's like the will of D. This is the enemy. They fought against the enemy, you know? There's a lot of different facets to this counterforce that existed in ancient times, right? Like, but to say, but is Emu saying Elbaf is a part of D, or is Elbaf saying they are one and the same? I think it's more Elbaf is a part of D. I have decreed it that it is part of this eternal enemy I have. Okay, so this is where the arrangement is made for Loki to be the martyr of Harold's crimes, of Harold's seeming betrayal. Tell the people of Elbaf exactly what happened here. Yeah, this will cause much unrest. Listen closely. Don't speak a word of what happened here to anyone. Understand who they'll blame for it. How is that any different than usual? Do you really see a future where I can become king and carry on my own man's ideals? Other ways I can live up to them. I'll take the powers I have and go avenge my dad and his soldiers. Okay. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. This kind of makes sense to me. Because I still had a couple questions. One was, if Loki goes ahead with this whole scheme to have himself be the martyr of Harold, have himself be imprisoned for Harold's crimes, basically, taking the blame for everything that happened, why is he so pissed off to be chained up? Why isn't he just kind of like chilling? Is that just an act? That doesn't seem right. Why was he provoking Luffy so much to free him? Was that also just some sort of test or something? Doesn't seem in character. He also, I think, would want revenge. He would want to be out there fighting the world government, getting revenge for Harold, just as he is proposing to do here. So what I think is going to happen, Shanks gets zapped, Emu mind controlled, and forcibly imprisons Loki to prevent this rampage. Perhaps, because we have this concept of Shanks is the one to imprison Loki, which was confirmed, denied, I can't remember. Maybe, I don't know. And moreover, we kind of don't want to like downplay Loki's strengths, especially with this new devil fruit, especially with the vengeance coursing through his heart. So it's kind of like, well, why didn't he just kind of like wipe out Marijois, you know? I think it would be a little deflationary. It wouldn't be so exciting if it was just like, well, you know, they got even stronger guys than Loki. This is a story of Loki's aura, you know? Talking nonsense, Loki. The world government is a colossal organization. It's a task far beyond anything you can imagine. Okay. Oh, okay. So he does leave. Yeah, that's true. He was out at sea. Then he came back. And here we are in the present. Wow. Okay. Holy crap. We are back in the present. So it's still unclear to me when and how he got chained up. I don't know. Maybe I'm just forgetting something. Maybe I'm forgetting something that was established way back at the start of the arc. I do kind of want to reread Elbaf from the start. Now that we've kind of got this full complete picture, I want to see, was this foreshadowed more, you know? I will say though, I did predict kind of this outcome at least. I knew right from the jump that Loki had to be a good guy, right? There's no way that they wouldn't have like shown his rampage if it wasn't going to be part of a substantial flashback like this. And as soon as I scoped that there would be some sort of substantial flashback like this, I was like, oh, well, there's no way that it's like you go into the flashback, Loki seems like a villain. You exit the flashback, Loki seems like a villain. You know what I mean? So it all kind of played out the way I expected, but I still kind of feel like there's gaps. I still want to understand a little better. And I don't think we're going to get that necessarily. I feel like that is sort of what we know now about how the situation arrived at where it is. And I feel like there's nothing to do but free Loki and get on our way to this fated encounter. I now understand why Chief Jarl argued for your clemency and continued to protect you. Short, Father chose death over the manipulations of the world government, and since then the government has been Elbaf's enemy. How do they manipulate him like that? These newly arrived Knights of Gods played a pivotal role in Harold's story, but Loki doesn't know exactly what happened to Harold in the Holy Land. Okay. Any more details I can explain? That won't be necessary for now, Mr. Ya. I don't need a reason to protect my homeland. Here we see the new giant pirates, along with two of the Straw Hats. See eye to eye about anything, Loki. It's love for our father. Allow me to apologize for that if nothing else. Now fight with me for Elbaf's sake. He's finally free. Okay. And Kadum. Something falls from the heavens. It's one of the nightmares. Okay, well we see Loki's devil fruit in non-silhouette. Used to think you were a real bastard who killed his own father. Sorry about that. But only for this one thing. All of your many other crimes still count. Okay, so he's finally free. I am excited to see, hopefully, a full display of his power here. See his devil fruit in action. Whoa, okay, okay. We don't see the devil fruit transformation. Chopper makes a funny face. And Loki unleashes a big attack. He freezes it and hits it with the hammer at the same time. Pretty cool. Luffy is shocked at this insta-freeze attack. Alright, pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, and that's it. See you next week, I guess. Very exciting stuff. Elbaf is D. These nuts. Oh!